Hello everybody, it's Paul Neeson with the Raw Life Health Show, and I get a question quite often about fruit versus fat. What's better to eat, or what should we be eating most of the time? You know, there's not one person out there that's identical to another person, so the amount each person eats and what they eat and when they eat, it should be different for everyone. It shouldn't be exactly for everyone. So I could say mostly eating a food that has live foods in it. That's the foods that have its enzymes still in it that wasn't destroyed by heat. And live food takes raw food to the next level. It's sprouted food, sprouts, and food that's directly right off the tree and you're eating it then, and not food that's been sitting on some shelf for weeks, or food that's been dehydrated and things like this. No, live food is the ideal food for everybody under any circumstance. Now, some people with certain digestive disorders might have to blend up the food or eat it, do juicing, but for the most part, it's the same type of food for everyone that's going to give them the ultimate health. Now, about how much each person should eat, again, each person is different. I know one fellow out there who does a tremendous amount of exercise. Well, I know several people out there who do a tremendous amount of cardiovascular exercise, and they need to take in more calories. Now, if you're taking somebody that's sitting at a desk job and they're not exercising as much, and we should all be exercising on a raw food diet. Don't think raw food is an excuse not to exercise. But if you take that person that's not exercising as much, they don't need as many calories. So for somebody to say every person needs this many calories, well, you have to look at each person and what their lifestyle is and what they're actually doing. And then you want to also look at the amounts of fats versus fruit somebody's eating. You want to look at the environment somebody's living. I live in the tropics, as you can see here behind me. Somebody that's living in the tropics can definitely do better with more water-rich foods and more fruits than somebody living up in a colder climate, which might do better with more fats. Now, somebody says, well, what if you do too much? Well, too much of anything is no good. So it doesn't matter if you're eating too much fruit or too much fat, it's going to lead to problems. Too much of anything is no good. Now, how much is too much? Here is the trick, folks, or here's the thing. Give me all the information about that particular person before I tell you what's too much or too little for that person. I can't say what's too much or too little for everyone because I don't know what that person is doing, what exactly they're eating, their prior health history, and so on. So for those people that say, well, there's one amount for everyone, no, there's not one amount for everyone. Live foods, raw foods is the best way to go. As for me and my diet, I've given many times, I've told people how much I eat or what I eat and so on. Some people say, well, that's what I do, and other people say, well, that's impossible. Well, it's not impossible because that's what I do. I seem to be healthy, I seem to be doing fine, and I feel great about it. And, you know, I know a lot of people that are successful on many different types of raw food diets. As a matter of fact, when I wrote my book, The Raw Life, I've interviewed many of those different people. I had a fellow, Brian Clement, from Hippocrates Health Institute that says to eat very little fruit and eat mostly sprouts and greens and get your protein from the bean sprouts. And then I have somebody, Doug Graham, who says eat a lot of fruit or a good amount of fruit and make sure you're exercising a lot and so on. They're both successful at eating raw foods. You know, I'm not saying one's right and one's wrong. They're both successful, and that's why people say, well, why'd you put both of those interviews in the book? It can be quite confusing. I didn't put it in there to confuse you. I put it in there to let everyone know there's more than one way to do this, and you have to pick the way that works best for you. All right? If you have any comments or questions, post them below the video, folks. But just eat raw foods. People say, well, how should I get started? Just eat raw fruits and vegetables. That's how you get started. You'll figure out the rest as you go along. If you think you should be eating a high fruit diet, then try it. See if it's working for you. If you think you should be eating a higher fat diet, then try it and see how it's working for you. You'll get the answers what works best for you. Now, you don't want to wait till something's wrong to figure out that didn't work. So there's other tips and suggestions on this website about how to know if your diet you're eating is working for you. And there's other people to learn from their experiences to see what you're going to try and make those changes. But you investigate your body. Nobody knows your body better than you do for yourself. So you investigate, figure out those ways to know if what you're doing is working, and that is a sure way to success. All right? If you have any comments or questions, post them below the video. Thanks for checking us out. Until then, have a great day and a great raw life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.